Kirtan. You were there, right? So was it great? How many singers were there? That you divided up over some hours? That's a long time. Very good. Did you sing?
Yes.
Did you sing? Who else sang? Oh, very good. Nice. I had planned on coming yesterday to the program, but we had to go down to Gilroy. It was unexpected, and we went down to be with the family and do the funeral. By the time we got back and did youth jam, it was really too much to add on to the rest of the day, but it was my intention. So next time I'll make an extra effort to be here, hear you all sing. Hare Krishna. So could you please put up the Gurvashtakam prayers? How many of you here know what we call the Gurvashtakam? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gurvashtakam. Everyone has it memorized? So if we ask you to lead Mangalarti, you don't have to look at anything. You can do it without looking. Yeah? Feel confident? Yes? Okay, let's sing it together. We'll do something interesting. Just wait a few minutes. Then watch, I can entertain. Namo, Namo. Hare Krishna. Samsara davana dalita loka tranaya karunyakana kanatvam pratasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guru shri charanarvindam. Mahaprabho Kirtana Nritya Gita Varitramadhyam Manasorasena Romanchakam Pashutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Shri Vigrahara Dhana Nityanana Shringara Mandira Marjanadau Yuktasya Bhaktanscha Niyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Swadanda Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangam Kritvaiva Triptin Vajataksataiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Shri Radhika Madhava Yaurapada Madhurya Lila Gunarupa Namnam Pratikshana Swadana Lolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Nikunjayuno Ratikeli Siddhai Yayali Pir Yuktirapekshaniya Tatrati Dakshyat Atipallavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Sakshadari Tvenas Kamasta Shastre Uktas Tata Bhavyata Eva Sattvi Kintu Prabhorya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasadan Nakati Kutopi Dhyayam Stuvanstasya Yashyastri Sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Srimad Gaurur Ashtakam Itaduchchar Rane Mahurte bhakti prayatnat yastena vrindavananata sakshat saivaiva labhya janashonta eva. Vrindai tulsi devyai priyai keshavasya cha Vishnu bhakti pradidevi satyavachai namo namaha. Vrindai tulsi devyai priyai keshavasya cha Vishnu bhakti pradidevi satyavachai namo namaha. Vrindai tulsi devyai priyai keshavasya cha Vishnu bhakti pradidevi satyavachai namo namaha. Namo namo Tulasi Krishna Prayasi. Namo namo everybody. Tulasi Radha Krishna Seva Kamo Heya Vilashe. Jito Mara Sharnalor Tarabancha Purna. Divinity and Divine Service, English. Who knows the whole thing? You know it? Okay, give her the mic. Just do the best you can. Try to make a few mistakes so we all don't look bad. Just take everything down. You start at the beginning, just do the Sanskrit up to verse 10. Who else knows the whole thing? All you have to do is 10 to 20. Try to make a few mistakes. If you incorporate that, can you do it? 1 to 10, 11 to 20. Take it down, please. That means off the Jumbotron. No Jumbotron. No little Jumbotron either. We're just here in the middle of a forest remembering the verses from the sages. So please.
व्यासोवाच इति सम्प्रश्नसम्मिष्टो विप्रानम्रो महर्षिणि प्रतिपूज्यवतस्तेषां प्रवक्तुमुपचक्रमे सुत उवाच यं प्रवचन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्येति तन्नयतरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यापदीपमतितीर्षतं वतनोतं संसारिणं करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनाम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् मुनयः साधुपृष्ठोऽहं भवद्भिर्लोकमङ्गलं यत्कृता कृष्णसम्प्रश्नो येनात्मसु प्रसीदति स वै पुंसं परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिरधोक्षजे अहैतुकी अप्रतीयतां ययात्मसु प्रसीदति वासुदेवे भगवती भक्तियोगप्रयोजिता जनयज्ञासु वैराग्यं ज्ञानं च यदहैतुकम् धर्मस्वनुष्ठितः पुंसां विश्वक्सेन कथासु याम् नोत्पादयेत् यतिरतिं श्रम एव हि केवलम् शृण्वतं अपवर्गस्य नार्थोरितायोपकल्पते नार्थस्य धर्मैकान्तस्य कामोलाभाय हि स्मृतः
कामस्य नेन्द्रिया प्रीति लाभो जीवेत यावता जीवस्य तत्त्वजिज्ञासा नार्थो यश्चेह कर्मभिः वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यज्ज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवानिति शब्दते तच्छ्रद्धाना मुनयो ज्ञानवैराग्ययुक्तया पश्यन्त्यात्मनि चात्मानं भक्त्याश्रुतगृहीतया
कवयो नित्यं
भक्तिं परमयामुषा
स्वानुष्ठिस्तस्य धर्मस्य
संसदिर्हरितोषणम् Bhagavan Sattvatam Pati Shrotavya Kirtitavyaschа Dhyeya pujascha nityada
Yad anudyasina
yukta
karma granti nibandhanam shindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat gatharatim
Shunvata sadhanasya vasudeva
katharuchi
Syanmahat
sevaya vipra punyatirtha nishevana
Shrinvatam swakatha Krishna
punya shravana kirtana hridyantakstoya bhadrani vidunoti suhritsatam nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyutama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki
Tadarajas bhava
kamalobhadayaschaye cheta iter anavidam Sitam sattve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam bhukta sangasya jayate. Who can carry on from there? Who can do the next 10? Huh? Okay, go ahead. 10 more.
Vidyate hridayagrantis Chidyante sarva samshaya Shinyante chasya karmani Drishta evatmanishvare Ato vai kavayo nityam Bhaktim paramayamuda Vasudeve bhagavati Sattvam prasadanim Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir gunastar Yukta para purusha eka ihasya date Sitya hare hare virinshi hareti samya Shriyam shikatra taru sattvana norniramsu Bhaktivat harno dhumas Tasmad agnistahi maya Tamasastu rajastasmad Sattvam yad brahmadarshanam Bhijire munayotagre Bhagavan Akshatam Sattvam Vishuddhasya Maya Kalpante Nutaniha Mumukshava Koda Rupan Pitvan Bhuta Patinata Narayana Kalashanta Janti Anusuyava Patastam Prakritaya Shama Shila Bhajanti Vai Peter Bhuta Pracheshadin Shri Aipsharya Prajipsava Vasudeva Paravedha Vasudeva Paramaka Vasudeva Parayoga Vasudeva Parakriya Vasudeva Param Jnanam Vasudeva Param Tapa Vasudeva Parodharmo Vasudeva Paragatim Sa ividam susarjagre Bhagavan Atma Bhayaya Sarasadrupaya chaso Dhyasmaya guno vibhu Taya vilasviteshveshu Guneshu gunavaniva Anta pravishta abhati Vijnanena virjimrita Yatahi avihito vanir Darushveka svayonishu Naneva pati vishvatma Bhuteshu cha tatha puman Sauganamayer bhavir Bhuta shukshmindriyatmavi Sa nirmiteshu nirvishto Bhute bhuteshu tadgunan Bhavat eshu satvinha Lokan vailoka bhavana Lila Vatara Nurato Devatir Yandaradishu. Okay, you can put it back up. Iti Srimad Bhagavate Mahapurane Paramahamsam Samitayam Pratamaskande Naimishiro Satyate Dvayaha Hare Om. Okay, next week we're going to call on anybody. It's like my Nirkula's mother, when she was driving the car,
and the kids were misbehaving in the back seat, she'd say, "In a minute I'm going to turn around and swing, and I don't care who I hit." Can we go back on the Jumbotron? Okay. What? No, from the last one to the first. We start at the end. Now we'll go backwards. Everyone ready? Bhavayat yesha satvena lokan vai loka bhavana lila vatara nurato devatiryandaradishu asau gunamayer bhaver bhuta sukshmendriyatmabi swanirmiteshu nirvishto punkte bhuteshu tadgunan yata yavahito vanir darushveka swayonishu naneva bhati vishvatma bhuteshu chatatapuman taya vilasiteshveshu guneshu gunavan eva antak pravishta abhati vijnanena vrajrimbrita sa evedam sasarjagre bhagavan atma mayaya sadasadrupaya chasau gunamaya guno vibhu vasudeva param jnanam vasudeva param tapaha vasudeva paro dharmo vasudeva paragatihi vasudeva paraveda vasudeva paramakaha vasudeva parayoga vasudeva parakriyaha rajastama prakritaya samashila bhajanti vai pitrir bhuta prajesha-din Shri Aishvarya Prajapsavaha Mumukshavo Ghora Rupan Hitva Bhuta Patin Ata Narayana Kalashanta Bhajanti Hyanasuyava Bejire Muneyo Tagre Bhagavantam Adhoksajam Sattvam Vishuddham Semaya Kalpante ye nutanniha Partivadharano dumas Tasmad agnistrayamaha Tamasastu rajastasmat Sattvam yad brahmadarshanam Sattvam rajastamayiti prakritir gunastair Yukta para purusha eka yasyadate Stityadaye Harivarinchi Hareti Samya Shreyamsi Tattva Kalu Sattvatanor Nrinam Su Atovaya Kavayo Nityam Bhaktim Paramayamudha Vasudeve Bhagavati Kurvantyatma Prasadanim Vidyate Hridaya Grantish Shyate Sarva Samshaya Shiyante chasya karmani Krishna eva manishvare Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad bhakti yogataha Bhagavat tattva vijnanam Mukta sangasya jayate Tada rajas tamo bhava Kama loba dayashaye Cheta iter anavidham Stitam sattve prasiddhati Nashta prayushu bhadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavat yutama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtaki Shrinvatam swakata Krishna Punya shravana kirtana Ridyantaksto hyabhadrani Vidhunoti suhritsatam Shushusho Shradhanasya Vasudeva Katarichi Syan Mahatsevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nashevana Yad Anudyasina Yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat kataratim tasmadekena manasa bhagavan sattva-tampati Shrotavya kirtitavyascha Jaya pujascha nityada Ata pumbir dvija shreshta Varnashrama vibhagasha Swanustistasya dharmasya Samsiddhir haritoshanam Tachtradadanam munayo Gana vairagya yuktaya Pashyantyatmani chatmanam Bhakta Shruta Grihitaya Vadanti Tat Tattva Vedas Tattvam Yajnanam Advayam Prameti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdate Kamasya Nendriya Pritir Labo Jiveta Yavata Jivasya Tattva Jignasya Narto Yasheha Karmabhi Dharmasya hyapavargasya naratortayo kalpate nartasya dharmaikantasya kamolabhaya hismritaha dharmasvanushtita pumsam vishvaksena katasuya notpadayed yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam vasudeve bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayat Yashivairagyam Yanam Chayadahaitukam Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Tokshaje Ahaitukya Pratiyata Yayatma Suprasidati Munayak Sadhu Prishtoham Vavadbir Loka Mangalam Yakrita Krishna Samprashno Yenatma Suprasidati Narayanan Naraskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Yasvanubhava Makila Shruti Saramekam Adhyatma Deepam Matitirshatam Tamondam Samsarinam Karunayaha Puranakuyam Tam Vyasasunam Upayami Gurum Muninam Sutuvacha Yam Pravajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahakartara Ajuhava Utreti Tanmayatayata Binedus Tam sarva bhutardayam munim anatosmi Vyasuvacha iti samprashna samvrishto Vipranam Ramaharshini Pratipuja vachastesham Pravaktum upachakrabe. How'd you like it backwards? You notice when you memorize something, then the ear hears the last syllable of the line you're on, and then it reminds you of the next one. And so you don't get a comprehension of them independent of one another, you just go by the next sound, right? But when you learn it backwards, then you start seeing them in relationship. Anybody else have any experience with working with these verses? Did you all get the PDF? Okay, about 3 of you so far. Yeah? Okay. Is it handy? Does it work for you? Okay. There's also recording. We have a couple of recordings. Yes.
For one of the goals of getting to 34, I've been spending a little time just trying to do it backwards. And something I realized was if you're able to remember like the first word of every shloka, for example, bhavati, and then it goes asau, yata, taya, and then sa eva. And I thought that was helpful in remembering it backwards for me.
It's been something that's helped. Yes, you're going to say more?
No, I was just asking if there's any like another way to memorize it backwards.
I found that very helpful in learning the Brahma Samhita. I realized that I knew the Brahma Samhita all the way through. I mean, any verse that you said, I could remember it, but then if I had to do it in sequence, I couldn't. And I was going through Singapore, and I met this other devotee who was chanting it every day. This was many years ago, like in the 70s or something. And then he gave me his he had made copies of the paper he used, and he had written all of the verses by hand. And when I got on the plane and I was looking at it, because I was doing it every day, I noticed his notations along the side. And they were in little clusters, letter clusters of 5. So the first one was CVAAA, and the next one was PEYAP. So, and then all the way through, 5 by 5, then I realized, like, I could remember CVAAA, Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu Kalpaviksha, Lakshavriteshu Surabir, etc. And then Venum Kwanantam, and then you got AAA, and then little words almost like pay up. PEYAP, right? So then, once I was able to cluster them in these little 5 letters at a time, making their own words, then when I could see those in my mind, then I could always then remember the sequence, and then it just became natural. But it's a good way to stair-step your way up so that you can remember the whole sequence. Does anybody else have any experience working with the 34? By the way, where's all our buttons? We're supposed to get the 34 buttons, right? Maybe they're coming from Shama Mohini or something. Ask Shama Mohini where they are. It's late in Toronto. Okay, so let's chant Hare Krishna. What do you think? Okay. First, put up the Jagannath Ashtakam. Kadachit ka indita tavipina Rago What do you got after that? What do you have after Jagannath Ashtakam Punyam? They got into the Rath Yatra stuff, but we don't have it here. There's at least 2 more verses. So those verses you'll find at Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 9, text number, one of them's 137. The other one is the one we discussed last week. Remember we talked about 2 verses? Mai bhaktir hi bhutanam amritatvaya kalpate. So this one, Mai bhaktir bhutanam, it's in Shiva Ranjani, but it starts at the top. Either that or bring me the other harmonium, because we both play at the same time. Can I have another one? Harmoniums from all my friends. You get a harmonium. Everyone gets a harmonium. So these 2 verses, remember we discussed it last week, we're preparing for Rath Yatra because this is the thought process that Lord Chaitanya is going through, because there's a parallel between the 10th canto, 82nd chapter of the Bhagavatam and the 9th chapter of the Madhya Lila. Did everyone hear what I just said? What did I say? 10th canto what? 82nd chapter. It's going to be on your SAT, so pay attention. When all else fails, get a Veena. Veena Deluxe. Yeah, it's like Amritatvaya kalpate Jishtayada simad sneho Bhavatina madavanaha My bhakti bhutanam Amritatvaya kalpate Jishtayada simad sneho Bhavatina malapanaha. And then there's another one. Ahushchatena linana padarvindam yogeshvara vichincha gadabodai samsara kupa patito taranavalambam geham yushamapi Manasi Udayat. What did I mess up? Geham Jushamapi Manaya Sudaya Sudana. Once we resolve that. Should we try it again? Now, these verses are important. I'll tell you why. And when we learn them and sing them around Rath Yatra, and then we get this whole repertoire. We have, of course, the Jagannath Ashtakam. But then these verses are key in remembering what's taking place here at Rath Yatra. Who would like to describe it, who remembers from last weekend when we discussed it? Okay, go back to Mai Bhakti Bhutanam is spoken by Krishna. So he says, devotional service unto me is the only way to attain me. My dear gopis, whatever love and affection you have attained for me by good fortune is the only reason for my returning to you. Just before this, Krishna had given very Upanishadic advice to the gopis. And he was also saying that our separation for so long is God's arrangement. And they answered by saying, wait a minute, you are God, so what are you talking about? And then Krishna appreciating their good fortune says this verse. And then Ahushchate Nalina Nama Padaravinda is a reply that the gopis give to Krishna after, just as he did at the rasa dance, he gave him this Atma-tattva Gyan, kind of, just meditate on me, take the Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, and so forth. And what they're saying in this next verse, move to that, Ahushchate Nalina, they're saying a lot here. I won't go into all the details, but the basic thing is it's sarcastic. They're being very sarcastic with him. They say, "Dear Lord, whose navel is just like a lotus flower, your lotus feet are the only shelter for those who have fallen in the deep well of material existence." So actually in every line there's some kind of sarcastic anger that our acharyas, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, are saying that is being directed back at Krishna for his giving him this very pedantic advice when all they want to do is love him and take him back to Vrindavan. And they go on to say, "Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers." Right? But we wish that those lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we are only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. So they're not ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. In fact, already we heard from earlier part of the Bhagavatam how even Krishna says, for my sake you've given up family and everything else. So all this is what's called parokshavad. It's indirect speech, where they're saying something to Krishna with a completely different meaning than we're hearing on the external. The point is that this is all in the context of Kurukshetra, when the gopis had come there, along with the other devotees from Vrindavan, except for the cowherd boys, didn't come. And they were trying to reconnect with Krishna. They did reconnect with Krishna, but they were saying that we want you in Vrindavan. And okay, there's one more verse. If you go to the Veda base, and you'll see the next verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 9:138. And here is a famous verse, you'll all be glad to know, which is spoken by Srimati Radharani, that Krishna's Kaviraj inserts. Are we going somewhere? Probably, right? And here she says to him that my mind, what? Huh? Chapter 13? Oh, it's not, Dancing Rath Yatras in 13? Okay, so it's chapter 9. Oh, okay, it's chapter 13 then? Then 138. Madhya 13, 138. 137. We're getting there. Yep. We sing this to the tune of, that we do Gauranga Duty Pada. Anyera Ridoyamana Moramana Vrindavana Mane Vane Kakari Jani Pahanto Harapada Karaharinudaya Tabetoma We'll work on the tune later. I have a nice recording of it. So now the translation. This is an important verse in the context. Speaking in the mood of Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "For most people, the mind and heart are one. But because my mind is never separated from Vrindavan, I consider my mind and Vrindavan to be one. My mind is already Vrindavan, and since you like Vrindavan, Will you please place your lotus feet there? I would deem that your full mercy. Purport. Can we have the purport? Armand, you read it, please.
The mind's activity.
Go
The
slow.
mind's. The
Slow
mind's.
and dramatic.
The mind's activities are thinking, feeling, and willing,
Very good.
by which the mind accepts materially favorable things and rejects the unfavorable. This is the consciousness of people in general. But when one's mind does not accept and reject, but simply becomes fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna, then one's mind becomes as good as Vrindavana. Wherever Krishna is, there also are Srimati Radharani, the gopis, the cowherd boys, and all the other inhabitants of Vrindavana. Thus, as soon as one fixes Krishna in his mind becomes identical with Vrindavan. In other words, when one's mind is completely free from all material desires and is engaged only in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one always lives in Vrindavan and nowhere else.
Jagannathastakam punyam yapatet prayata suchi sarva papa vishuddhatma Vishnu lokam sagachati. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram Rati. think that breakdown, at least that one breakdown we do, comes when we're going a faster pace, faster with Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. I think we cut it by 45% from where we were going. And I like it with the longer lead in. It's like bum, 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 before you turn it back into Dintanakadina, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Come on now. How many? Hare, count them. Hare Krishna. Okay, try it at 12. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hello! What do you think? 12? It's good, right? It gives a little chance to bring it back to the, it's just a filler until we get back to Dintanakadina, right? It's 10? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then what are you doing? Let's try it. Hare Krishna, what's your comment? Okay, try it again. Well, it doesn't have to be 10 or whatever. It just has to give us enough time to bring it back down again, right? Like, and it's got to be exact. This and that are completely in sync, right? Hare Krishna. Hare. It's more on the syllable. What syllable one, right? Okay, let's do it. Na. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. That's one. Okay, let's try it again. Wait. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Again. Hare Krishna. And it's one. Hare Krishna. Hare. That wasn't on the second note. What are you doing on it? Okay, so where are you starting that?
Right after the first.
After the Hare Krishna, dun, dun, talkie, talk. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. So I think there's a good break after the last Na and Ma and Rama. Hare Hare. At the end of the mantra, it's like a little gap before we start. Da, 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 da. Okay? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Comments? Krishna Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's like big inhalation, like everyone inhale, then right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. One more time. Ready? Of course you're ready. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay? Any adjustment? Yes.
Are you okay with that?
Well, it depends how many times we break it down.
I was thinking one after.
if we break it down twice, yeah, just make sure when we break it down, you come into a different beat, because otherwise we lose the element of surprise. Anything? Get a bucket of water, that phone goes in. See what it sounds like underneath. Okay, so everyone come sit down just for a minute, okay? Thank you for the dancing. The dancing is the most important. It brings out the utahan for Krishna. I see it on the Harinam too. When there's a lot of dancing, then the people get drawn in especially. Of course, the toll has to be a dancing toll. Holding the dancing toll as long as possible so people can keep dancing. That's important. The longest part of the kirtan should be some din to makadina, where everyone just feels like it's danceable. So we're really trying to enter into the dhams and into the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's all available and possible. We just have to really hear it and pray to Krishna that we can appreciate it to one degree or another. And by His mercy, by the coming to the Rath Yatra festival, getting ready for the Rath Yatra festival, we can bring with us some impression that we get from hearing and chanting, and then trying to cultivate it. Anyway, let's hear some reflections from anything that you heard tonight. From the verses or just the experience of trying to enter within them. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So you were talking about memorizing like Brahma Samhita and how you went through that process. I was sort of reminded that in ancient times when they used to memorize the Vedas, so there was a technique called jatapat. So they would go, so for like when they were memorizing the Vedas, they'd first start with like let's say verse 1, 2, and if there's two or three verses, so verse 1, verse 2, and verse 3. So they first start with verse 1, they'd go to verse 2, they'd go back to verse 1, they'd go to verse 2, then they'd go to verse 3 and go back to verse 2 and keep like, to go forward, backward, and then forward.
It's like 1, 2, 4, 2.
So 1, 2,
5.
3, 2, 3, 4,
Oh,
3, 4, 5.
Okay.
And so this is like one of the methods that they use to memorize the Vedas, and that's how they kept it like perfectly.
Okay, let's try it. We'll do from the Ishapanishad. Just see how it flows, okay? Everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay, put up the Ishapanishad, please, just in case anybody here doesn't know it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Ishavasya Midam Sarvam Yakincha Jagatyam Jagat Ena Tyaktena Bunjita Magridakas Susintanam Gurvane Beha Karmani Jijivishakshyatam Samaha Evam Tvainanyate Tosti Karma Lipite Nare Ishavasyam Vidam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bunjita Magridakas Suddhanam Gurvane Beha Karmani Jijivishakshyatam Samaha Evam Tvainanyate Tosti Nakarma Nipate Nare. Keep going. Suryanamate Loka Andena Tamasavritaha Kamste Pritya Vigatshanti ye ke chapma hano janaha, kurvane veha karmani, jijivishekshatam samaha, evam tvainanyate tosti, na karma lipite nare, asurya namate loka, andena tamasavritaha, tamste pritya vigachanti, ye ke chapma hano janaha, ane jarikam manaso javiyo, naina deva abnuvan purvanarshat, tadhavato jnanat yeti tishtat, tasminapo mattarishva dadati, yanamate loka, anhena tamasavritaha, tamste pritya vigachanti, ye ke chapma hano janaha, ane jarikam manaso javiyo, naina deva abnuvan purvanarshat, tadavato jnanat yeti tishtat, tasminapo mattarishva dadati, tadejati tadnaijati, tadure tadvantike, tarantarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasya payataha, nijadekam manaso javiyo, naina deva abnuvan purvanarshat, tadavato jnanat yeti tishtat, tasminapo mattarishva dadati. I like it a lot. It's really good. Thank you. What's it called?
Jatapat.
Jatapat.
Pat. Sorry.
Pat.
Yeah. So it's like so it's J A with the line on top, and then T with the dot, and then the A, and then P A T with the dot H.
Okay, Jatapat. Okay, any other things? Realizations from your lives or from the hearing and chanting? What do you think of the world and your place in it? Happy? Could be better? Share. Sharing means caring. Okay, Hansapriya will start. I got those mallets came with it. I realized those smaller cowbells keep breaking. Give her a mic, please, because it's too much force for them. They have a seam and it breaks apart.
I just wanted to share that no matter what goes on in their life or whatever happens during a day, but in the end, close your day with this, and then everything is. It happens. But this, if this takes place, like little of sadhana in the evening takes place, then not to worry about whatever happens.
Yeah, when we lived in the temples, everyone, there was always a morning and evening program. Long morning program. Morning program's pretty long. When Nirkula and I were driving to take a break for a couple days, I found this disc called the morning program. So I put it on, and I was thinking, we do a long morning program. And some people from Swami Narayan came once and saw the morning program, and they go, man, you guys are serious. Nobody does programs like the Hare Krishna temple. I mean, it goes for all morning. You've got the Gurvashtakam, then Tulsi Puja. Then, of course, on the tape they have them doing the Shikshashtakam. Then what? Panchakalpa. Then after that there's Guru Puja, Srimad Bhagavatam class. What else? Huh? Shraddha prayers. Yeah. Any other things? Two more. We need more merch. Okay, what else? Can two more share? Anything? Realizations, room for improvement? Sadhu. Sadhu's fresh back from pilgrimage, living in the Dham. Tell us what you think.
In the purport, we were reading that if the mind is purified and engaged in loving service, it's like considered to be like Vrindavan. And I was hearing a class the other day, and he was talking about how devotees with spiritual eyes can actually see the pastimes going on in Vrindavan. And he also mentioned that you actually don't really see Vrindavan, like the pastimes going on with your eyes, but you see it with your ears by hearing the pastimes of the Lord. And that just got me thinking about how hearing about the katha of the Lord is important, because Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Ye Bhadrani Vidanoti Satam. How
Can you do that verse again, a little more dramatically and slowly?
Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Ye Bhadrani Vidanoti Suhirsatam.
One more time, but with a little more drama.
Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Hya Bhadrani Vridanoti Suhrisatam.
Is that dramatic? Somebody, who's a drama teacher in here? Balaram, you do a lot of plays. Tell him how to be more, how can he be more like emotive, sort of bringing out more of the feeling of the verse? Could give him a little coaching. Coach him.
First step would probably be to say it slower, and then to focus on each word and try to do something different.
Think how it feels. What's the feeling of the verse? And kind of open up to, like open up a little more, like physically. Like this. Yeah. Do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Go. Open up. Now say it more. Like this. Yeah. Put your hand out like this, or, you know, something dramatic. Just you're in a play. Do something nice. Go.
Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Hya Bhadrani Vridanoti Suhrisatam.
Better. Balaram, please assess your student.
I think you started off really well, and then at the end you just sped up again.
Yeah. I talked about it the other day about in public speaking. They teach you to kind of like open up and be more dramatic than you think you need to be. They call it your bozo zone. I mentioned that the other day. They had us do these exercises where they read a passage and you really overemphasize it, and then they show you on film, and it's like, that's about right. Because most people think like, I gotta really cramp it in. Right. Okay. Thank you. Nice realization. You got one last one. We'll get it? Yes.
I like the verse where Krishna and gopis were talking, and Krishna told gopis that the separation is because of God. So then gopi said, oh, you are only Krishna. And then you told that when gopis replied, every sentence was like, it was not the straight sentence. They were taunting, or that we are just household ladies, we are this.
And in the commentary, Krishna Chakravarti Thakur says that your instructions about Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, it's like the sunshine, and it's burning us. That we're Chakora birds. We want the moonshine, not this bright sun of philosophy. We want to see your sweet face. And that's more the mood of Vrindavan, spontaneous. Not all this dhyan and gyan. Right? What are you smiling about?
I was just laughing because there's this bhajan that I think Tejas
Says what?
There's this bhajan that Tejas told me once that talks about Krishna's name is Radha Mukha Chandra Chakora. So I was just remembering that when you mentioned the Chakora word.
Wow, that's real enjoyment. Remembering Krishna's names. Once when Raghunath Maharaj was here and he was doing an initiation, and afterwards I said, wow, you really picked beautiful names. The names are so nice. He goes, they're Krishna's names. Of course they're nice. Why wouldn't they be nice? Well, thank you, everyone. It's so enjoyable to enter deeply within the chanting and hearing together. Sachindra Prabhu, anything? Can you give us what's on your mind? Anything? How is it with, yeah, please go ahead.
I mean, Maharaj, we're so grateful to be in this community. It's just absolute bliss every time we come here, so there's nothing more to say. The minute you enter the temple, it's absolute ecstasy. So, serving with the devotees, being with the devotees, and seeing them jumping and dancing and singing and serving, there's nowhere else you'd want to be.
Wow, that makes my whole night. Thank you, Suchindra. Yes.
I'm memorizing the Mukunda Mala Stotra.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very good. This is a worthy occupation. Say the first verse.
Shri Vallabheti Varadeti Daya Pareti Bhakta Priyeti Bhavalunta Nakovideti Nateti Naga Shayaneti Jagannivase Tyalapinam Pratidinam Kuruma Mukunda.
Not only was it, you recited it so nicely, but you have such a high level of confidence and also appreciation, enjoyment of saying the verse. It was very well done. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Gauranitai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev. If you so desire, please increase our attraction to your beauty, to your names, to your pastimes, and please let us enter deeply within the Rath Yatra pastime so we can pass it on to others. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part, please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpa Vrusha, Kripa Sindhu